What's up, Heat Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Heat Roundtable. This is going to be episode 3. So I am back here today with Ernest. You can find him at Miami Heat Talk. And I'm here with Trent. You can find him at Miami Heat Network. So excited that we're going to start doing this again more on a weekly basis. We've done 2 of these videos now. So we want to continue to do this, and we're going to call it the Miami Heat Roundtable. So we want to talk about a few things today specifically. So let's talk ball, y'all.
Let's get it.
So
Let's go. Off we go on another Miami Heat adventure. Let's roll.
yes, sir. So last night, interesting game, huh, fellas? So the Miami Heat beat the Brooklyn Nets on the road, 96-95, in a dirty, awful, offensive game. This was a game that was in the mud, which the Miami Heat are good at, right? We're good at these
Yep.
games apparently, but this was like an old school 90s game where it was all about the defense, but also just the inability to score. Like, can you imagine in this day and age, this type of basketball, the Heat played an overtime game, their first of the year. We're 1-0, which is good, but we couldn't even break 100 points. So ugly game, but also ultimately beautiful because all that matters is that we won, right? So it's frustrating, but a win's a win. So interesting to hear your guys' thoughts on last night's game. So the Heat basically scored 31 points in the first half. Unreal. Luka Doncic in the last month has probably scored that in a half 2 to 3 times. I've seen that recently. So 31 points in the first half, 37 in the third quarter. That was actually our golden quarter. They had 37 in the third quarter alone. So this game was wild, went to overtime. Crazy game, shot like shit. But Ernest, just let me know what your thoughts on the game was last night.
Awesome, because it doesn't only show the fact that we have the will to win. It shows what we've been seeing all along is that even when we're down, even when we're injured, even when we're hampered, we still find a way to win. You know, when you say injured and hampered, well, Jimmy played. Yeah, but our star for the season, Jaime Jaquez, was out. You know, Kevin Love was out. So they're always finding ways to win. And it's like you said, it was like a 90 style game. This was very defensive minded. There was a lot of reasons why we should have lost. You only get 18 points from your bench, but we find a way to win. You know, even though we're down by 5 with a minute left, we still find a way to win. We're down by 16 in the second quarter. We still find a way to win. You know, and that shows me why I feel this team is a contender because of games like this, which we normally lose, we're turning around and winning them.
Yeah, I mean, these type of games for the Miami Heat, it's a like. Let's talk about the first half real quick, right? That was embarrassing, right? It was just embarrassing, and this is why it brings to my point of our first episode when I said we lost the championship because we didn't have enough scores on our roster at the end of the day, right? And these are one of these games where Amir literally said we had 31 points in 2 quarters. You know how embarrassing that is? That's embarrassing. At the end of the day, we got the W, of course, but I'm always
Yep.
going to criticize my team because I'm not going to always be positive. Oh, like, yeah, we got the W. There's a lot of work we got to do, right?
Yep.
But 31 points, like I said, is just unacceptable, and this is why y'all, I'm on this channel or what this Miami Heat roundtable. I'm gonna be the one with Tyler Hero. Where was he until the end? Like, yeah, he stepped up. He hit those back to back threes and stuff like that. Hit that clutch shot to bring us down and stuff like that. We get that, but in that first half, the inconsistencies to me is just it's right there. We're looking right at it, and it's so frustrated to me because this is constantly gonna happen. I bet you next game he's gonna go for 10 points, and the next game he's gonna go for 50. That's just what Tyler Hero does. Like it's inconsistencies. But more on the positive side, we see Jimmy's first game back, and he looks incredible. Right, he got some time off, put up some big numbers in 40 minutes. 40 minutes coming off injury. You expect a little bit less minutes, but we need him out there, right? 31 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds. So I'm
Yep.
definitely excited about that. And we talk about this all the time. When Jimmy's out there and he actually wants to play, who can really stop him? I don't know if y'all have noticed. Have y'all seen like the All-Star votes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think I sent it to y'all. And I said, why the hell is Jimmy in like top 4, top 5 voting? He hardly played, and when he does play, you know, he's not really doing like to be in those votes. Don't get me wrong, I think he should be in an All-Star game, or maybe not. I don't know what y'all think. But that just showed, you know, it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean he gets those votes, bro, because he's that popular. Like what he
Yeah,
did in the finals, what he's done in the playoffs, he gets those votes because just people are naturally drawn to him. Like these are fans' votes. So and he has the respect. Like what
yeah,
he's done the last few years with this team, he's gotten the respect of the people. That's why I think the votes are there.
for sure. So, looking at this team, right? We shot 8 for 31 at the 3-point line. That is 25, 26%. That's not
Yeah.
pretty good, right? At the free throw line, though, we was pretty solid, right? 22 for 25, 88% as a team. And so, like you said, these are one of these games where we thugged it out. We got the dub, we got the victory by 1 point. And these games matter because how close Eastern Conference is right now, we need these games. And what's our record against the Nets right now? Because I know we played them 4 times.
Two and
Yeah,
two,
yeah, I know you top of your head.
2-2.
2-2, right? So if we would have lost this game and somehow the Nets come back, like remember last year, they were super. They were in our way. The Nets were in our
Yep.
way last year. So and even though the Nets are, they have not the greatest record this year, but they can always turn around. Look at the Utah Jazz. I mean, I think they're 12-2 in their last 14 games. I know that's in the West, but teams turn it around. So this was a big W, especially seating wise. Record, at least we tied it with them. And my last thing I gotta say about this Heat team, man, is that Kyle Lowry is fucking garbage. I'm sick and tired of this dude. So I don't mean to swear, but I can't stand Kyle Lowry. I actually made a video on it, and I'm hoping it's true. He's on an expiring deal. Expiring deals mean a lot during this time. We can get something good out of this because a lot of teams want to free up cap on their end. So hopefully we
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. And another player who we're gonna talk about buyout candidates later in the video. Get Thomas Bryant off my team. Get him off my team. Get him out. I don't want him no more. And I know a perfect player who can replace him. And it's not the same position. But at the end of the day, good W.
It's crazy because I remember Thomas Bryant. A lot of people were looking him as like the revelation, the backup center revelation. Like he's so much better than Dedmon. He's so much better than Cody Zeller, and that was in the preseason. And then people just figured it out. He's trash on defense. He's not as great as people are saying. There's a reason why he was traded from the Lakers. There was a reason why he wasn't brought back by the Nuggets. I'm thinking that he's just okay, a big guy. He has 6 fouls. Go get him. But you think he could be better? He's not. But we have the revelation in the backup center in Kevin Love. I think Kevin Love is fine as the backup 5, but we still have that hole. Like I still feel that we have that hole at the 4. Like we've been starting Nikola Jovic the last 6 games. He gives you 5 points, 19 minutes. I think he's doing fine. It's a nice little band-aid for the position right now. But in the playoffs, we need to decide, what are we going to do? Is it Haywood Highsmith? Is it Caleb Martin? Is it Nikola Jovic? I don't think any of the 3 are the answer. Caleb Martin's the best option, but if we really want to win a championship, it's what are we going to do there? Who's going to fill that hole?
It depends on the matchup, though, as you've mentioned, because we're the deepest team in the NBA. As long as we're healthy and have access to these types of players, depends on who we're matching up against. Like against the Nets last night, they have a small lineup as well, right? Claxton's like kind of like Bam, undersized center, 6'9", 6'10", and then they're playing Finney Smith and Bridges and Cam Johnson and all those dudes. Like what's his name? What's the dude off the bench who played like shit last night? Not Cam Johnson, but Cam Thomas.
Is it? I don't know. They be starting him and then benching him, so it's weird.
Cam Thomas.
I know
Yeah.
Cam Thomas. Yeah, Cam Thomas.
Yeah, Cam
Yeah.
Thomas.
So they play undersized too. So like it depends on who we're matched up with against. But yeah, to your point, like Jovic, he's fine. I'm happy he's in the rotation, getting some experience, but he's still raw. He's going to be inconsistent. He's going to have a game where he's getting 15, 8, and 5, and he's going to have a game like last night where he only, has a few points, but the playmaking's there. The speed of the game is slowing down slightly for him. He's turning over the ball less. So he's good. But in the come playoff time, he's not going to be the answer to your point. And Caleb Martin, Haywood Highsmith, good. Swiss Army knife type dudes, but they're 6'4", 6'5". And, we don't want to get pounded on by the teams that are bigger. Like, even in the East, like if we play like the Cavs when Mobley comes back and they have Allen, Milwaukee has a bigger front court with Giannis and Brook Lopez. Boston with Horford and KP. Like, so you're right, man. We need to figure out like who's going to be like that starting power forward or even backup power forward.
Yeah,
that can come in. So
I want to say something, right? I think I brought this up last episode. You wasn't here, Ernest. I'm willing to trade Caleb Martin. I'm actually willing to trade that dude. And the reason why I'm willing to trade him, it depends. Though. I'm not willing to trade him just to trade him. No, I'm not willing to do that. But if we have to package him into a deal to get us a better team and us a star player, I'm willing to do it.
Hmm.
Because our mayor brought up a good point. We're not extending him at all. Um, I don't think we're doing that, right? So let's just try to get something out of it. Caleb, we all know what Caleb, man. He outplayed Jalen Brown in the playoffs this year, unfortunately, dealing with injuries and stuff like that. He's still a good player, but if we have to give him up, during the offseason, people are like, he's untouchable. We can't give him up. We can't give him up. Right now, if we have to give him up for Donovan Mitchell, I'm for it. So I'm willing to do that. I think we still got, like you said, Haywood. I want to play Haywood Highsmith a lot more. I don't care. I get it. Plus minus is it's important. I mean, you can't just be out there getting plus minus 30 and you're just making your team lose out there, making your team worse. But I like him. I personally like him. He's a little bit smaller body, but he's improving every day. And so if we can get a star player out of this, I'm willing to trade Caleb Martin.
I've said this so many times. I've even said it in my channel.
Yep.
I think I've even told you guys. I'm at a point right now where I don't think we need to make a trade. I love this roster as is, but I'm a realist. I understand where we have holes. I know the starting power forward position is shaky. I know the point guard situation is raw. I think Donovan Mitchell is the guy. It's the home run hit to make a trade for. I just don't think it's going to happen this year. Cleveland, they're tied for fourth. I don't think they're going to make a trade. If it happens, it's because it happens in the offseason or because Donovan requests a trade. But the tradable contracts that we have and the players that I'd be willing to give up for to make an in-season trade, to not make a home run hit, but to get someone who's really going to help us, Kyle Lowry, who's expiring, Caleb Martin, who's expiring, a young asset like Nikola Jovic, which is the reason why I feel like he's playing, to bark up his trade value, maybe a future first pick swap, something like that. Those are players that I'm willing to trade right now, this season, to get us a player to help us win. Am I saying we can get a Donovan Mitchell with that trade? Absolutely not, because Cleveland's going to want Tyler Hero. And if that's a possibility, you do it for a Donovan Mitchell. But it's like I mentioned the last time we did this, you guys. DeJounte Murray is the perfect option for us to make a trade for a Kyle Lowry and a Caleb Martin. If we're able to swing that, it's not likely. You got to make the numbers work. Andy Ellsberg is the great numbers guy. But those are three players that we have that I'd be willing to trade. I don't want to trade Bam. I don't want to trade Jimmy. I don't want to trade Hawkes. I don't want to trade Hero if we don't have to. Like I've told you before, like me and Trent are on the same page. If it's getting Donovan Mitchell, trade Hero. But if you have to trade Hero for DeJounte Murray, I wouldn't do that. I don't see a point. There's not a real upgrade there. So it's really depending on the right piece, I feel.
Yep, and we also mentioned this too, the last video when you weren't here, Ernest, that I don't think the Hawks would want, if they're trying to gut their roster, get rid of DeAndre Hunter, Capella, Bogdanovich, Murray, and keep only Johnson and Trae Young, then they wouldn't take Tyler anyway because they're getting the same contract back roughly for DeJounte. So
exactly,
I think they want to experiment with people at different positions and let Trae be the star in the backcourt. But let me ask you this real quick though. So I'm going to name a few players, and one, Murray is one, of course. Another player, Terry Rozier. Let's just start off with those two guys. So initially, if we're going to have to trade for them, because those guys both signed big extensions, I think Rozier has like 2 or 3 years left on his like $100 million deal or so, making 25 mil. Would you be willing to trade Jovic at any of those deals as the sweetener to get either one of them? Because right now it has a Kyle, a Caleb. I don't know if a pick's going to be involved, but if they're asking for a young piece. But actually, I have this note. Let me actually – I just saw that the Hawks have said for Murray – I've seen 2 reports. So one is either a young, good type of player, up-and-coming type of player, like a Hawkes, let's say, which we're not going to do, and a first-round pick, or just 2 first-round picks and whatever that can match the salary. So what are your thoughts? Would you be willing to trade like Jovic as that young piece, or would you be willing to give up like the 2 first-rounders?
Go ahead, Trent.
So personally, what I'm looking at for Miami at this point, I'm willing to trade Jovic. I mean, I've been willing to trade him. You know what it is? I give up on young players too quick, and that's a problem with me. And I'm just going to bring this up real quick. I was one of LaMelo Ball's biggest haters, and now look at him. Look at him. He's a baller. He's a really really good player. So I'm always gonna regret this. But if my problem is if I don't see you providing for our team as soon as possible, like Amy, whatever his damn name is, I can never pronounce it. I
Jaime.
want you, yeah. I don't want you on my team. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how I look at it. I know it's not the right way at all. I really know because it takes time for developing these players and stuff like that. I just look at Jimmy Butler's time. I look at he's getting older, and I want to win a championship in his era. Right? That's what I want. So I'll do whatever it takes. If we have to give up Jovic, I'm willing to do that. So a player that I would want to do this with, if we're gonna get DeJounte Murray, right? They're looking to package a deal. I don't know if you said this, but they're looking to package him with somebody. A player that I'm looking at is DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter is 6'8". He hasn't played much this year, but he's a 6'8", averaging 15 points a game, shooting 40% from the three-point line. If we could package him and Murray together, I would be super, super excited because he's known as a 3-and-D guy. He just has health problems. That's his thing, and that's a big thing. I know we already have enough health problems with the Miami Heat. We already got enough. But bringing those two guys in, I would honestly love that. And I think DeJounte Murray's going to go for cheap. I really, really do think he's going to go for cheap. Hopefully the Lakers don't get it because the Lakers are actually in talks for him right now. So that is a little bit concerning to me.
Yeah, they want Reeves though. I don't know if they're willing to give up Reeves, but fuck Reeves. I'd give up Reeves for DeJounte Murray in a heartbeat. But
So yeah,
I like the Hunter piece too because
yeah.
2 years ago, remember against the Hawks first round, like DeAndre Hunter had some games, man. Like he busted us up.
All right.
So
that actually works. I'm looking at the numbers right now. DeJounte Murray, his contract goes up next season. It's similar to the Tyler Hero, but he's making 18 mil this year. With the DeAndre Hunter's 20. That's 38 million. Kyle Lowry makes 30. Caleb Martin makes 6.5, 7.
Yep.
And Jovic is like at 2. So all we need to that actually works. You just grab a salary filler from Atlanta. I don't care who, take one of these chumanacos and then just release them, whatever. And you make the trade work. Miami's probably going to have to throw in a future first-round pick, maybe a pick swap. So technically, that's 2 first-round picks. You got the pick, and then you got Jovic. They have Jovic to build for the future. Jovic is a piece. That's the reason why the Heat are playing him. They're playing him so teams can see what he can do to bring up his trade value. When a team is blowing up, they want 3 things. They want expiring contracts to fill up the void. They want a young asset, and they want draft picks. Miami can give them all 3. And the reason why I feel the 3 of us keep kind of surrounding around the Hawks like vultures swinging down, ready to just pounce and kill, it's because we know that Atlanta's basically quitting. And at this point, that's where Miami, they're terrible sellers, but they're great buyers. And if the Atlanta, which they are, they're showing that they're just willing to give up the farm, then you go in. You go in for a team like this. That's why Spida, this right now, the Donovan Mitchell situation, it's not going to work. Because if Cleveland were losing a bunch of games and Mobley and Garland were out, then yeah, Miami can swoop in, make a deal for Mitchell, and get this done. But the fact that they're winning, it ain't going to work. But with DeJounte Murray, with this situation, I think that one's more likable. So hell yeah, I'm so willing to give up Jovic. And it's not because by giving up Jovic, we're messing up our future. We have so many building blocks for the future that I feel we can afford to lose Jovic. You got Bam, you got Tyler, you got Jaquez, you got Highsmith, you got so many. And let's not forget what we have over there in the G League with Swider, with Williams. Then we got Orlando Robinson, Jamal Cain. Our future is fine. So if we give up one of those pieces in Jovic, I'd love to keep Jovic, but if you're asking me to give up Jovic to get a DeJounte Murray and not have to give up Tyler Hero, all in, papitos. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, man, I agree. Because also, if we do make that trade, then how old is DeJounte Murray? 27? He's like, or 28? He's like in the same build then with Bam, Tyler, and Jaquez, right? So that's,
exactly.
That's the new core 4 right there.
Would y'all? So I like DeAndre Hunter, but I'm just looking at this Atlanta Hawks team. This team's actually really bad. I see why they want to blow it up. But would you take a Sadiq Bey or what? I don't know if he would be available.
Sure, bro. I'll take any of those players. If I'm getting DeJounte Murray and DeAndre Hunter, you can give me Garrison Matthews. I don't care. Like whatever.
Look at this one. I'm not sure if they're willing to give this dude up because he's still young. Onyeka Okongwu. we talk about the power forward position. I know he's a floor spacer, but he could play that four and is a big body and is a lob threat. I know we don't really have a guard to throw much lobs because our fucking point guard position is pretty ass. But I definitely like him.
I don't think so though, because they want to get rid of Capella. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
he's the replacement to Capella on that team, basically. But and plus, we need spacing around Bam. You know, like unless he's coming off the bench.
And they gave him a big extension. The numbers don't work because now you can't throw in Caleb Martin. Now you got to throw in Duncan Robinson if you're going to take Hunter. Because remember, Okongwu makes $8 million this year, 14 next year. So the trade package that we talked about that centered around Hunter Murray, it works exactly with the numbers with Kyle and Caleb. So now if you're going to do that trade, throw in Okongwu, now we got to talk about, do you want to trade Duncan Robinson? Hell no. Like I said, if we're going to we don't have to make a trade, but if we're going to make one, it's because it's going to benefit us. I don't want to trade Duncan. I don't want to trade Tyler. I don't want to trade Hawkes. Nah.
For sure. I just like to. I'm just throwing because they're in a fire sale, so I'm just looking at their players on the team right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna?
Oh yeah.
Let's switch gears real quick. Because Trent, you said you had a Thomas Bryant buyout candidate replacement in mind. So buyout market, right? So we don't want to go over the second apron necessarily with even a player like a DeJounte Murray, right? It's not necessarily guaranteed that we're willing to take on his contract. We didn't want to take on Beal's contract and players like that we didn't think were going to be the whale that put us over the top, like a Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard. Those guys were worth going over the second apron. So buyouts are perfect because guys are on their last year of their contracts that are expiring, and they usually sign for the veteran, kind of like K-Love. He signed for the vets min, and then we rewarded him with a little higher contract this season. So he didn't seem like he was going to pan out last year, but he initially was not playing that great next to Bam, but in the playoffs that all changed. So and he's been wonderful this year. So there's a few people that could be on the buyout market. I know one specifically that I know of is a Gordon Hayward, who was on a huge contract that's expiring this year, and Hornets are going to be a team also like the Hawks and Wizards who might be blowing it up a little bit. So he seems expendable. I don't know if there's any other candidates you think that could be a good fit, but we could start with Hayward or Trent if you want to start off with like the mystery man. Go for it.
Well, you kind of took my name. You took my person, but it's good. It's good. Gordon Hayward. Yeah, I like Gordon Hayward. I really do. I get it. He ain't the same person. He's always injured. I get it. But when we're talking about buyout candidates, let's not forget, great players are not going to get bought out. Like, that's just not the NBA. That's just not going to happen. So if we are going to let go of Thomas Bryant, who we don't really need because Kevin Love is playing that position perfectly fine, why not bring another scoring threat? We need that. I'm not saying Gordon Hayward may play a big part. When you do buyout markets, it's always going to be 50-50. They can play really, really good or they can play really, really bad. The best thing about it is we don't got to worry about it because his contract's expiring. We'll let him go as soon as the season's over. So that's the point of a buyout. And when Gordon Hayward's playing, he still is averaging damn near 15 points a game, shooting 36% from the three-point line. Why not? Like, why wouldn't we not go after that? And Gordon Hayward almost signed with us. He almost signed with us. He knows about our Heat Nation, Heat culture. He's not a great defender. We get that. He's always injured, like I said. And there's a bunch of probably more cons than positives for Gordon Hayward. But you're telling me, who would you rather have, Thomas Bryant, Gordon Hayward? I'm taking Gordon Hayward any day just because of the fact that we already got the backup position and Thomas Bryant's hardly playing this year. So I would love a Gordon Hayward on my team. I wouldn't mind it. And he could be one of those dudes who surprise us. You know, injury comes down. We all know he's a veteran in this league. So we all know injuries happen. He's a veteran in this league. He can step up and pick up right away. So I would love a Gordon Hayward on my team. Hornets, they're terrible, and he should have been gone off that team like the last 2 years. Let's be honest, but you know.
Yep.
Do you think we'll be able to attain him though? Do you think he'll see us as a good enough contender? He hasn't won a championship. Who was the guy? Was it LaMarcus Aldridge a couple years ago, like that we thought we were going to get, and like a couple other buyout candidates like the Kevin Loves that we thought we were going to get that would help move the needle, but they signed somewhere else ultimately. Do you think I think on the Nuggets, could you imagine the Nuggets signing him, dude? That'd be a dope signing for them. The Celtics, I think Ernest mentioned in a video today, they have Brad Stevens, his old coach from college, and in the NBA, he played there and unfortunately broke his leg on the first play of the game that season. But like Boston is a better contender in a sense. Like it makes more sense that he can come to Boston. He'll be the anchor off the bench. Or a Nuggets, like on the Nuggets, he'd start. Like he'd be on. Like imagine him playing with Jovic, one of the best players in the NBA. Like it's hard to compete with those guys. So do you think we have a chance to even?
I think we have a chance. I don't think it's likely. Just for all that you said, Miami, it's not going to give him the same opportunities that these other teams are going to give him because we have so many wing players. So if you bring in Gordon Hayward, it's like, okay, now you got to share time with Jimmy, Josh Richardson, Jaime Jaquez, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson. So he's going to be the sixth wing player. He might start some games. He make him off the bench. Boston is the perfect fit. He's going to go to Boston. If he gets bought out, he's going to go to Boston. It's just writing's on the wall.
I agree with y'all. And this is mean. This is kind of messed up on my end. But maybe he looks at our team like, bro, this team's always injured. Like, let's just be honest. This team's always injured. So, like, yeah, Boston may be a good fit. But if we're going to talk about playing time, I promise you when the playoffs start, on the Celtics, Gordon Hayward's not playing. I just know.
Well, I mean, they have no bench. They have no bench, so I think he will.
They don't have no bench, but they're going to give Gordon Hayward the first series. They're going to see how he plays. I watched. Yeah. They're going to see how he plays, and they'll be like, yeah, nah, I don't. He's not going to play too much. So maybe I'm just being biased. Maybe I'm just being biased, and I want him to my team. Oh. It is what it is. But I'm just saying, Miami's always injured. So if you're gonna get an opportunity, you could get an opportunity in Miami. Yeah. Let's just be honest. So.
Oh yeah. 100% agree. I'll give you guys mine, and I mean, I'm going to be totally out of left field here. Yep. There's some great likely names. You know, PJ Tucker is an obvious name, but I don't want PJ Tucker on this team. But there's a guy that I'm looking at, and I'll be like, why not? Danilo Gallinari. Dude was just traded to Detroit. You know he's going to get bought out. He played only 5 minutes. But look at these numbers. In 26 games, in 14 minutes a game, he's averaging 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He's averaging 31% from 3. In his career, he's 38%. But he's 6'10", 240 pounds. That's another big player to give Spo to play with Bam, Kevin Love, possibly flip around that 4 rotation with Caleb Martin as well. Dude can hit shots. He can space the floor. He's a big body. He can rebound. He's not greatest defender, obviously, we know. But I think what he can bring 15 minutes a game, that's a guy in the buyout market. Because he can do, for us, what Kevin Love did last year. And like I said, that's bringing another big body, which in my opinion is someone we need. Something we need, excuse me.
Yeah, I think he could help with spreading the floor, obviously, maybe getting a little hot off the bench, playing, what do you think, 10 minutes a game, 12 minutes a game, probably?
10, 15, yeah, because, you know, Bam plays like 40 minutes a game in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not bad. I don't know if it's going to move the needle necessarily like a Kevin Love luckily has done for us, just because he's on the wrong side of 30. He's 35, just coming off like that ACL. Like, he's literally, like, can't move. Like, that dude is in quicksand, you know? Like, he can't.
Well, 7 points a game for 14 minutes. I don't think that's that bad. I think it's all right. I think it's like you said, he's not going to move the needle, but you know, he can give us some good games, I feel.
He's still capable, I'm sure. He's still a bucket. He could probably get us like 10, 12 points every once in a while off the bench, depending on how many minutes he gets per game. But I mean, he would be more of a reliable scorer than like a Jay Rich type of dude who's inconsistent, or Haywood if he's coming off the bench, because he was a former scorer who could average, 18 points a game when healthy. So not a bad option, I think. I mean, they're going to gut. That's another team, right, that's willing to drop players as well. Like, is there any Wizards guys to come up? I know. Ernest, let's end on this. You talked about Kyle Kuzma's available. I think it was 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
I like him, I guess, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to move the needle necessarily. I don't necessarily trust him in as our third or fourth best player. Like, look what he did with the Fakers. Granted, he was playing behind LeBron James, but like, he was good when the kids were there before LeBron was there, right? With Ingram and Clarkson and Lonzo and Randall. Like, look at all those names the Lakers fucking traded. Fucking idiots. But anyway, they got their fucking ship. But yeah, I don't know. Kuz could be an awesome fit. I watched your video today. You guys should go check out Ernest's video. He talks about Kuz in there as well. He could be a good fit next to Bam, but I just don't trust him necessarily. But I think the Wiz, one of the worst teams, second worst record in the NBA.
Yeah.
Is there a player like a Monte Morris, former Nuggets point guard, that could be bought out? I think if he becomes like a buyout or trade candidate, I think Monte Morris could be someone who's
Let's
not
look
really
at.
at all.
We can look at Thaddeus Young.
That's another option. I mean, if you trade Kyle Lowry for a Kyle Kuzma, for example, and then you have that hole in the point guard, then yeah, Monte Morris, maybe even a Patty Mills. I know people weren't really happy when I said that, but if you're trading Kyle Lowry, it's because you understand the fact that you don't need a point guard on this team. We have so many ball handlers. Our center is a ball handler. So the fact that we really don't need it, but it would be smart to pick up somebody, a veteran point guard from the buyout who can give you 10 to 15 quality minutes off the bench, But at this point, the way that we're playing, I think it's definitely doable. And if you trade for a Kyle Kuzma, I don't think that's likely. I don't think the Heat are going to want to do it. But to touch bases about the whole knucklehead thing that he has, I don't care who the player is. If it's a player who can average 20 points a game, who can give you good quality minutes, if you put him in this Miami Heat system and culture, like my shirt says, we get guys at the right way. We turn bad, unknown players into quality role players, and we turn good players into great players. So I'll leave it at that.
I say my last thing too. I know Heat Nation, I'm one of them. We're most likely not trading for a star. So these players that you may not like is probably the most realistic thing that we're probably going to touch at this trade deadline. We've seen it for the last off seasons, trade deadlines. We got too excited. Too many people, too many stars went to the Heat Nation and we never got them. I gave up when we didn't land Dame. Just gave up right then and there and didn't expect no other big move after that. So a Gallinari, if we have to live with that, that's how we have to live with it, because we can't expect to land anything at this point until further notice.
And with all these players we just talked about, I might be on Arissa's side, just saying, hoping that we're healthy. I think we might not even have to make a move. Honestly, we might not even have to make a move as long as we're purely healthy. And I'll leave it on this because we saw last night, Jimmy missed basketball, right? He came back. He missed 9 or 10 games in a row, right? He's missed 13 overall this year. He was engaged, maybe not for the first few minutes, but that guy scored 31 points on 12 shots.
Yep.
Got to, when he's getting to the free throw line, though, he's engaged, right? He was in his bag. He was getting that lift. And he looked, when I saw that, it got me enthusiastic thinking about Ernest, that when the lights are the brightest and Jimmy's healthy enough, dude, that guy can go to another level. So maybe we might not even need anybody at this point, but it would be frustrating. But to Ernest's point, I'm on your side. If it's a real upgrade and actually makes us a better with a DeJounte, Terry Rozier, Spida, I'm in for it,
Yeah.
Well,
my thing's about to click out, you guys.
Perfect timing. We'll stop there, guys. Thanks so much for joining us on another episode. We'll be back again with another episode maybe later this week or early next week. So to the next episode, guys. Thanks for joining.
It was fun, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Until next time, boy Ernest out. Let's have a good one. That's enough said.